This is like my fourth original tag and I need to chill out. Hey, it's Jay, and I'm here today with an original book tag. Now, disclaimer, this tag does not in any way diss the Harry Potter series. I love Harry Potter, I love the series, I love the writing, I love everything about it, except some of the little tweets J.K. Rowling's done. But anyway, this is the anti-Harry Potter book tag, and how you do this tag is that for every question I have, each question is something that people normally respond with Harry Potter for, and you cannot use Harry Potter as an answer to any of these questions. That's why it's the anti-Harry Potter tag, because you can't use them at all. It's banned. So I've got 8 questions which people would usually use Harry Potter for in order to answer them. So the first question is a book or series that you want to reread. For me, that is the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I binge read this when I was in 6th, 7th grade, around the time the first movie came out in 2012, and I love the writing, and I just love Suzanne Collins in general, and I just really want to reread them and enjoy that Katniss strength. The second question is a book or series that has a special place in your heart. That for me is Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. I don't know why this, there are a lot of books I could have used for any of these questions, obviously, as is the nature of the tag, but I chose this because it's just I remember I was in the school library when I was in elementary school, and a librarian from the public library was visiting, and she was sharing different books that were new and popular and stuff, and Skullduggery Pleasant was one of them, and it was about a skeleton detective, and it sounds so interesting, and I just fell in love with everything about that series. So number 3 is a book you loved as a child, and that for me is Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. This is a middle grade fantasy series, and it's about these 2 kids who discover that their grandparents are the caretakers of a magical reserve with satyrs and demons and all that stuff, and it was just so cool, and it made me fall in love with reading again, basically. Number 4 is the first book you ever fell in love with. That for me is Junie B. Jones by Barbara Park. I read the 3rd book first, but I love the series because Junie B. Jones, it was each book had about 7 chapters, and they were really short. They had illustrations, and Junie B. Jones was just so sassy and got a whole bunch of mischief, and it was great. Number 5 is a book or series that you'll love forever. That for me is A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I don't know if it's the dark humor or one of the first series I ever read, or the fact the way that Lemony Snicket wrote or whatever, but this series and the Netflix adaptation is so good, and I just love the Baudelaires, and I love the plots, and Count Olaf and everything about it. Number 6 is a book or series you'll pass on to your children or grandchildren one day, and that is Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan. I love the diversity, I love the magic, I love, again, with Series of Fortunate Events, I love the voice that Rick Riordan brings to the table, and I thought it was hilarious the first time I read it when I was 14, and I think anyone, no matter their age, can love the series. Number 7 is a middle grade series you love, and again by Suzanne Collins. I love Gregor the Overlander. This is another middle grade fantasy 5-book series, yeah, and it's magical, and it's about these couple kids in New York who fall down through the washing machine, and they discover that there's an underland with humans, but then there's also giant rats, giant bats, giant cockroaches, giant everything you can think of, and they go and search for their dad, and it's as good as The Hunger Games, so I highly recommend it. And the 8th and final question is a book with magic, and that for me is Unenchanted by Shonda Hahn. I've never seen anyone else talk about this, but the first book is free as an ebook, and then each book afterwards is only $1 more, and it's a really good series. I read it when I was in junior high, and so I don't remember much about it, but it's basically with fairy tales and retellings of them, and this girl named Gemma, something like that, I think it's Gemma, she has to she is part of the ancestry of the Grimm brothers, and her family is cursed to relive each fairy tale until they've gone through all of them, all 200 or something, and that curse is broken and they are free. So there are about 8 or so people I'm tagging, and I'll put their channels down in the description. I'm tagging Ms. Betty G, Sarah Jane, Carrie the Book Bell, Ashley Faith, The Princess, and Et2 Brody. That was an 8, but you know, there's a reason I'm not a math major. But if you like this original tag, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe or ring the little bell so you get notified whenever I upload. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday, and down in the description are links to my different social medias, including Twitter and Goodreads, which are some of my favorites, so make sure to friend me on there, and I will see you in another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.